Hi, my name is Kate Narita, author of 100 Bugs Accounting Book and fourth grade teacher. This is day 17 of my summer 2019 Book a Day Challenge. I will be talking about New Kid by Jerry Craft. New Kid is a graphic novel. Graphic novels are important to have in your classroom because they support visual learners, speakers of other languages, and students with dyslexia. But that's not the only reason why you should have New Kid in your classroom. New Kid is a great novel to have in your classroom because it talks about the challenges of fitting in. It talks about what to do when a parent doesn't support your passion. It talks about having grandparents as mentor. It looks at ethnic slurs. And finally, it talks about what to do when you have an unsupportive authority figure in school. So, Smile by Raina Telgemeier is an excellent graphic novel to have in hand. The main character, Raina, also struggles to fit in, just like Jordan does in his new school. Another book in the same vein is El Defo by Cece Bell. She too is struggling to fit in a new school. I mentioned that New Kid talks about what to do when it seems like the parent doesn't support your passion. And in the Night Diary, not the main character, but the main character's twin also faces the same problem. He loves to draw, and his father does not celebrate this fact. And in The New Kid, Jordan really wants to go to a school that focuses on the arts, and instead he's at a fancy prep school. So there definitely is some parallel there. The book that New Kid most reminded me of is The First Rule of Punk by Celia Perez. In The First Rule of Punk, Malou, that's the main character, finds a mentor not in her grandparent, but in her friend's grandparent. And in New Kid, Jordan looks to his grandfather as a mentor. Also, in The First Rule of Punk, the ethnic slur coconut is discussed. It's used to actually describe Malou. There is her nemesis who says she's a coconut. She looks Hispanic on the outside, but acts like a Caucasian person on the inside. And in New Kid, that term is not used as a slur against the main character, Jordan, but it is used as an ethnic slur is used for another child of African American descent, Maury, and they call him Morio, and that's in reference to the ethnic slur Oreo. So both of these books look specifically at ethnic slurs. And finally, in The First Rule of Punk, the school administration does not support Malou's desire to showcase her punk rock band at the school talent show. And she has to figure out a way to work around the system that's discriminating against her. In The New Kid, there is a teacher who doesn't take the time to learn the names of the students of color, and she doesn't realize how racist she is. And one day she comes across Jordan's notebook, and he has cartoon caricatures of her. And this leads to a very important discussion between Jordan and the teacher. I always like to throw in a picture book in my recommendations. My favorite graphic novel style picture book is Blackout by John Rocco. And what I think is important about Blackout is that there's a non binary main character. So when I read this book with my students, I always ask them, do you think the main character is a boy or a girl, and why? It's really interesting to hear their responses. I do have one word of caution against having a New Kid in your classroom, and this is definitely something I'll be discussing with my students. The author makes a joke about anaphylactic shock, and having had a child who almost went into anaphylactic shock, I can assure you that it's really not funny. Also, as a teacher, I always have one student who needs an EpiPen, and I value the lives of all my students. So, although anaphylactic shock is not as widespread as a problem as gun violence, it's something that should be taken seriously. So, if we use this book in my classroom or in our Project Lit Club, we'll definitely be discussing this issue. Thanks so much for listening. If you have any questions, you can contact me at Kate Narita or www.katenarita.com. Thanks to Slides Carnival for the template, Unsplash for the photographs, and thanks to the Journal of the American Medical Association for the anaphylactic episode chart. Have a wonderful day.